this spring. A lot of positives from a lot of players. What have you seen from them, and how do you think they've done so far in spring ball?
I've tried to put a lot of stress on them early because anytime you take a new position, especially I think at linebacker, you're trying to see where they fit in. It's not as simple as other positions where, okay, this guy's a wide receiver, this guy's a tight end, this guy's a running back. There's several different linebackers that play within a defense. So you're trying to figure out which one they need to be at, right? And so I've moved them around a fair amount, just trying to get a feel for what they're good at. And that was my priority early, was to move them around and see what they're good at. Now you can focus more on, I have a pretty good feeling of which spot those guys need to play. So now you're fine-tuning those skills, letting those guys compete at those specific spots and things like that. So I've been really pleased with the stress that we've put on them for us to be able to handle that,
The last couple of years here, like the inside linebackers, they only end up playing like 2 or 3 guys the whole game. Like, what is your concept? Like, hey, I want this many guys to be ready to go for us when it comes to game day. Like, how much depth do you want to have? In that
that's a great question because. And that's a conversation I've had to have with those guys because I think as we've gone through practice, I've rotated a lot who's gone with the first group and the second group and the third group. You come out every day, it's going to be a different guy. And that's for 2 reasons. One, the competition, and then 2, I did not realize that until we've gotten through a few practices. That's how they did it in the previous years. And I had to have some conversation with them. Hey, man, we're going to play around 5 inside linebackers a game, fairly evenly snap-wise too, because we love playing our starters on special teams with Coach Freeze and Coach Burns, and obviously that linebackers and safeties usually make up most of your special teams, right? So I mean, I've always had the philosophy: if you're playing as hard as you can't play every snap, So I really, I'm trying to thank you. I'm really trying to have. About 5 to 6 guys. You usually have 2 or 3 that are playing about the same number of snaps in a game, 45-ish, right? And then you have a couple more that are probably playing closer to 25 to 30-ish, right? And then you probably have that one guy that's playing 10 to 15, But that's how it's been in the past for me. No, you're fine.
What does it take for a guy to earn snaps as far as within?
Yeah. I think early on with it being a new system, it was really, for me, I just wanted to see the effort. I knew there were going to be mistakes from a scheme standpoint because it's new and things like that. So I just wanted to see the effort and how much they cared and things like that. Now they should be learning what to do, right? So now it's who can I trust, right? Who can I trust to play with the effort we need to play with, right? Who can I trust to handle the scheme? And then a huge part of linebacker is getting other people lined up, right? So who are our leaders out there for those 2 inside spots specifically? And can they handle it, right? Because if you don't know what to do yourself, you're not going to be able to get other people lined up, right? So that's really the task they have, and so I'm just searching for those leaders on the inside for sure.
Those 2 inside roles, I always have a hard time figuring out who's
Yeah.
who or what fits better. Like you said, you were trying to get guys in certain roles. Like, what do you look for in one of them? What do you look for in the other? Like, what's the split?
Yeah, so the Mike and Will for us are very, they within the call, they could both end up doing the same things. But the Will for us is the guy that you would think could play a little bit better in coverage, you know what I mean, match up on tight ends and things like that. The Mike for us is the leader in the middle that's getting guys lined up. He's going to be the box guy, the guy who can line up on the edge if you need him to, stuff like that, So that's kind of the makeup of those 2 guys. But, we have probably have 3 guys that I think could play either inside spot. I'd be comfortable with them playing either of those roles. Like, they have the skill set for both. And then we probably have 3 more who are probably more suited just to be a Will or more suited just to be a Mike.
Who do you think is the guys who can play both?
Steiner can, because he's big, but he's one of the faster guys in our room. I think Cam Riley could, because same deal, can run, but he's still a bigger guy. I haven't done it with Keys as much here lately, just because he's really new, right? But I think down the road he could play Will if we needed him to. But he's really got that perfect Mike build to him, So
Anybody standing out from, beginning of spring, the improvement they've made to now? Anybody standing out in that regard?
Oh, it's I'm talking to y'all after 11 practices, so there's been a lot of highs and lows with some guys. I think there was a stretch there where I thought Robert Woodyard was really coming on. I mean, he's still coming on, don't get me wrong, but if you were to ask me 5 days ago, he would have been one that would have stood out to me. Just being a young guy that's trying to play. He's the type that's really just he's playing really well, but for him to be a Mike linebacker in this league, he's got to pick it up from a vocal standpoint. And that comes with time when you're a young guy. Austin Keys has been everything I thought he'd be. He's got to clean some detail stuff up, but I think we definitely did not miss on him by any means. And then Cam Riley, I've been really impressed with. Cam has probably got the most position flexibility in our room. He can line up on the edge. He's long. He can play Will. He can run. He can play Mike. He's big. I've been impressed with Cam being able to handle all that mentally. But those are some guys that stands out, and a lot of those guys. Eugene Asante has had a really good last 2 practices. Really, really good. He's really climbed from a rep standpoint because of how he played the last 2 practices. He had a really good one yesterday. So, there's a lot of those guys competing and standing out. Regardless, if you were to say we've got the most talented room, that may not be the case, but I do think we have the most guys with similar traits. So we have the most competition, I think, on our team probably. It's fun. It's fun to watch those guys practice.
We've heard about Tolan.
Being
a younger guy, but got a lot of the tools.
Oh yeah.
What have you seen from him?
Can really run. When he knows what to do, coverage standpoint, he's a vital piece, man, because he's a guy who can line up in the box. He's physical enough in the box to line up in the box, but he's athletic enough that he moves like a safety out there on the perimeter. It's just going to take some time learning what to do, just being new. You know what I mean? Because I think a lot of people forget. Sometimes you take a transfer and you think you're getting this like seasoned veteran or whatever, but you forget the kid was only 1 semester in college. You know what I mean? Like just because he played every game as a true freshman at LSU, he's still a young guy, right? And so, and I'm not down on DeMario by any means. He's doing great. We just gotta keep bringing him along, and he'll have a role for us for sure.
You've been with Hugh for some time now.
Yes.
What are some things that you've learned about him that maybe Auburn people wouldn't know yet?
One thing I'd say is sometimes when you have, from my perspective, you have what most people would consider, he's an offensive head coach, right? He's a former play caller, still probably will call some. Sometimes you it divides your team a little bit. It's kind of the offense versus the defense. He's not really chummy with the defensive players and things like that, and that is so far from the case with him. He's really involved with our guys, around us all the time. If you come to practice, you're going to see him as much on our field as you are the offensive field. And I think that's a really big deal that goes a long way. There's a lot of defensive head coaches that don't mess with the offense except when they screw up, right? There's a lot of offensive head coaches that's the same way with the defense. And that's something that's really refreshing working for Coach. He's really involved with us on defense.
Josh, I believe when you came in, you mentioned that Ron Roberts his defense is one you modeled yours on.
Yeah.
At Liberty. What's it like now working with him for several months?
Oh, it's awesome. I'm learning so much. Just a lot better ways to do some things. There's plenty of carryover for things I've been a part of, and not just me, other guys on our staff. It's just I think Coach Roberts has a lot of answers, right? Anytime you're a veteran coach, there's a lot of things you've seen, a lot of ways you can massage something to make it better. Or maybe a better way to teach it, right? So it might be something I've done, but verbally he's got a better way to explain it to the kids and things like that, and that's been something really cool for me just to hear such a great teacher talk to me about how to coach those things.
A lot of folks around here like to know about how how Powell's doing because he's a local
Mm-hmm.
guy? Just what have you seen from him as a younger dude trying to develop?
I mean, he's doing good. You know, I mean, Powell's just always going to be a developmental guy for now, from the standpoint of, you know, he was strictly an edge guy in high school,
Right.
you know, and he doesn't quite have the length to be that at this level, you know. You know, if you've never, you know, the phrase in coaching usually is you never want to move people back, right? You don't sign a high school linebacker to make them a safety. You don't sign a high school DN to make them a linebacker. And that's not to say that Powell won't play linebacker for us, but that's why the transition will take a little longer. You know what I mean? Just because the amount of reps, and I have no idea the amount of reps he was getting years before this, but it's going to take some, you know. But he's got a great attitude, works crazy hard, plays with a really high motor, awesome kid, awesome kid.
What have you learned about recruiting from Pete?
You know, we're going to cover people up. You know, we're going to know you're just not recruiting the player, you're recruiting the coach, the family, the brother, the sister, the girlfriend. I mean, everybody, you know, and that's what I've always learned from Coach. And then the second part is it's never been in our programs that we've worked together. You don't need to go be a car salesman, you know, just be yourself, right? You know, that's the sign of a good recruiter. If I've got kids can see through that, you know, I don't have to walk in a high school or walk in a home and be somebody I'm not, right? Because they're coming here to play for me, not some fake guy recruiting. And that's typically why it doesn't work out, right? You recruit a kid acting a certain way, and then he gets here and you're acting a different way, and that's why he wants to leave, right? So be yourself. And two things. One, you got a better shot at getting him because you're being real. Two, if you don't get him, you know he wasn't a fit for you as a coach, and you don't want to fool him into coming to Auburn, right? We don't need to trick people into coming to Auburn, right? It speaks for itself, right? So just be yourself, and that's one of the biggest things I've always learned from coaching and recruiting.
You know, one of the things with the portal NIL is that the guy you may have missed on might come back around the second time.
Yep.
How's that changing the landscape?
Yeah, you know, I think when you look up, the best programs aren't having to live in the portal, you know. We might need to be early on in our process just because of what we inherited and things like that. But, you know, that's really a case-by-case basis thing. You know, we're not sitting here, there's going to be some great – we don't want to be sitting here 2 or 3 years from now saying, there's going to be some great player hitting the portal. That's what we want. You know, we want to be hitting on our high school classes and, you know, covering up home base around here and things like that. But, yeah, I mean, it's the nature of the business right now. And with us being a new staff, you know, that's what we have to do, right? But I think you'll see us crush it in these high school classes, these next 2 classes for sure.
What's it like recruiting at Auburn compared to Liberty? What's the same and what's changed a little bit for you?
You know, I'm from the South, so I'm really enjoying being around this footprint. You know, at Liberty, they're good players that direction, but they're a little more spread out, and you're a plane flight away from a lot of good players. Whereas here, you know, I can throw a grenade and hit 10 good players. You know what I mean? Like that's how good of a place this is. You know, I think it just makes it much, I don't want to say easier, but yes, easier to, you know, attack kids and try to get them to stay home, right? You know, I'm not trying to convince a kid, hey, get on a plane flight and come see our facility. You know, hey man, drive 40 minutes down the road when you get out of school. You know, it's a lot different. You know, and so. I think that's been really refreshing, you know. And then just the level of ball down here, man. They're just so well coached. Their coaches are hard on them. That's what you want. This is a tough league, so I mean, we're not going to change their mentality in 4 years typically. You know what I mean? They're gonna have 18 years worth of habits, right? So we ain't gonna be able to change them all in 4, right? So when you're recruiting kids that are from this area, that are going to deal with a lot of hard coaching and things like that, man, that makes you excited.
Where's the most interesting place someone's recognized you since you joined Auburn program?
Most interesting place? Man, I don't go out that much besides taking my son to his golf stuff. they've recognized me there. I won't say which golf course I attend, but I've been recognized out there. I don't go out that much right now. I'm a little too busy. I'm sure it'll happen this summer, but I'm a little too busy right now. I'm usually in the office or in bed. So,
you talked about Woodyard a little bit. What are his skills? What have you seen from him? Just from that?
He's an athletic Mike. You know what I mean? He's a really light on his feet. I love his change of direction. He's a kid that, and I wasn't here when this was going on, but he was a kid that had to lose weight when he first got here because he got hurt late in his senior year, I think, and so he had to lose some weight, and you can tell he's light on his feet, right? And it's just really nice to see a young kid use some instincts too. You know, he's got some natural stuff to him. Just really like how he's unafraid to jump in there. You wouldn't think he's a 19, 20-year-old guy with how he's practicing right now. So it's nice that you got some seasoned guys in there with him, right? With like Austin's played a lot of football, Wes has played a lot of football, Cam's played a lot of football. So I think he sees them and how they practice, and that helps him a lot. But man, he ain't afraid of nobody now. I'm really impressed with him.
You mentioned Cam was playing a couple positions. Do you think it's possible that your jack linebacker, they may take him over there, or use him more there?
Yeah, I mean, we can put two of what y'all would call a jack on the field at the same time. You know what I mean? Depending on the personnel. So, I mean, he could be the second one that's out there or the only one that's out there, you know. It's hard. You don't want to stunt Cam's growth at inside backer to sacrifice his reps and put him there this early in the process. You know what I mean? That's more of a probably over the summer thing or fall camp thing. You know what I mean? But he will play some of that for us for sure. There's no doubt. You know.
Cam's really big for an inside linebacker,
Yeah,
especially around here.
yeah.
I mean, just how much of that is a weapon for y'all having to do that size, because there's not too many 6'5", 240-pound inside linebackers usually around here.
Yeah, you know, it's like I was talking about with Coach Roberts. He has a lot of answers, right? And when you have a coordinator who has a lot of answers, you can massage your defense to what it needs to be for those kids. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be a cookie cutter, this is the defense we run, figure it out. It's, hey, we got this 6'5", 240-pound linebacker, like you're saying. Let's put him in these situations to be successful and not put him in these, right? So I think that's what you'll see is ways we can put Cam in position to make plays and use his length and not put him in position to where he's being wasted or anything, or that link's being wasted and things like that. So I think a lot of multiplicity would be my answer to you, is when you have a long linebacker like that, I think you can be very multiple.
We heard Cam talk about being more vocal. That's what he wanted to do.
Yeah.
We've heard Coach Roberts talk about it. Heard
Yeah.
him talk about it. Well, what does that look like exactly? Being more vocal. What do you want from them? In
Well,
that nature?
you know, the nature of today's offense is tempo, and I think it's no secret that y'all know we're playing with way more tempo on offense here now. And so a huge part of getting lined up on defense in those situations is the linebacker, right? So I just wanted to see Cam, who is an older guy, to understand that I have that expectation for him, right? You know, regardless of how it's been in the past or if he's done it in the past or not, it's, man, if you're one of the really three experienced guys, you need to look like it. You know what I mean? And I'm not talking about how you execute. I'm talking about how you lead from the front, right? So, and that's the only way, like I was saying about Rob, that's the only way those guys are going to get better, because they're looking to them, right? They're looking at those guys, and they're not doing nothing. Well, they ain't going to do nothing either. So, I just told him and some of those older guys that that's what I expected from him, and he's done a great job. You know, I've seen a lot of confidence in Cam these last couple practices.
You probably see the quarterbacks up close from a different perspective. What have you seen with Robbie and TJ Holden as they develop?
I know Robbie can stink and run. You gotta have a plan for that. You know, I just seen him have a great attitude as coach rotates him and puts him in with every group, kind of like we're doing with everybody.
I think Coach Freeze said yesterday that he thought the tight ends and linebackers had two of the biggest adjustments as far as position groups from last year to this year. Without giving stuff away, right?
Yeah.
What are some things that maybe the average fan would notice is different about what the linebackers are going to be doing on the field?
The multiplicity. I think, like I said, not to give the same answer to a couple questions, but I mean, just the multiplicity in our defense is a lot on the linebackers, and they've got to know what to do, how to handle it, how to get lined up, how to help everybody else get lined up. And it's not as simple as we're just going to line up in four-man front and line up in the A and B gap. You know what I mean? We're going to put stress on offenses to prepare for multiple things, and we're going to get in multiple things to get our guys in good situations. So I think that's what you'll see from our defense. I think you'll see a lot of multiplicity.
Good.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Awesome.